came a strange voice, and she turned. An old human woman approached, skin wrinkled and sand-blown, hood pulled up against the elements. She held the reins of a tall, gangly Toby, probably on her way to the nearby trading post.
There's been no one here for so long,
she said.
Who are you?
I'm Ray,
she said.
Ray who?
The old woman asked, standing tall. She said,
New York Times best-selling author Ray Carson.
Star Wars Minute.
Hello there! Welcome to another episode of Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, we scrutinize, we celebrate the rise of Skywalker 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.fun.
I'm Mike Gospel, aka Word Gospel 09 on YouTube.
And I'm Josiah Robinson, co-host of the How Star Wars Is It podcast.
Welcome back, fellas. Glad you could meet us here again.
Yeah,
Glad to be back.
I got lost this time, but managed to get here on
Tricky.
time.
I know, it's tricky.
Once you figure out the door code,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Glad you made it, because we're talking about minute 133 today. We're getting close.
Mm-hmm.
Minute 133 starts off with the restless ghosts of the Skywalker twins haunting the old Lars place.
Mm-hmm.
And it ends a minute later with thanks to Chris Burra, the co-producer of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Give you a little hint. We're going to be wading into the credits.
Yeah.
This is a juicy minute.
Oh, baby. The big
Got a lot
note
of
I wrote down
implications.
on my piece of paper in all red letters is, OMG, you guys really gave us an excellent minute to discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
One of our
remind me that
favorite things to discuss.
we're supposed to do our match game follow-up today. Did you guys come up with answers for what?
Oh, right.
Okay, should we not do it? Okay.
Sorry.
All right, then. Moving on.
I think she's going to pick the last name of the vagrant drifter woman who just asked her.
She's like, what's your name? I'll take that one. She kills her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The nice little...
If she took her name, then she'd be Ray Who.
Ray who?
Yeah. Ray.
Get a nice callback to the first season of Star Wars Minute, because we get to see Rey staring at a French horn.
Oh, yeah.
She looks up into the horizon and sees the
Oh,
ghost
man.
of the Skywalker twins. So staring at a French horn.
Yeah, we get, again, like is it rhyming if it's the same thing, if it's the same word? We get the, like, oh, we'll just have her do the same thing, standing looking at the, Tatooine sunset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Kinks song. But
Yeah.
and then this time you got Rey and BB-8, and it's kind of the idea that, like, okay, well, this is our new Rey and BB-8 are going to be our new adventure buddies. So it's like the way that Luke was staring off looking for adventure. What was the trading card, Luke's yen for adventure or something like that? Like, this is the same idea. It's like Rey's going to go off and have adventures, and we're going to follow her.
When I went and saw this, I saw it with a past and no doubt future guest of our show, Michael Delaney, giving him a shout out. And he leaned over and said to me, "Oh my God, it's going to be the sunset." Like, it was maybe just a minute before, and then it happened, and I was like,
Yeah.
That to me definitely feels like Rey was like, oh, I'm gonna do that thing I like from that movie I liked.
Yeah.
She specifically came.
BB-8, don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
She specifically came so that the suns would be right on the horizon. She didn't come in the middle of the day when they'd be up in the sky or
I went on
nighttime.
TripAdvisor and they were like, come at like 5:45, 6, depending on the time of year.
Avoid the rush.
Yeah.
This is the tour guide opportunity we're talking about again, is that like these people are always coming through this area of Tatooine to stand here and look at those twin suns.
Yeah.
It's like
take pictures of them with it.
Sign with a picture of a camera on it, alerting you that this is a good
Yeah. And people do, like, how people always, like, they're like pinching the Eiffel Tower, like pushing the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Same thing where they're like maybe like juggling the twin suns or like juggling the sun. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, and then we
Now-
finally get the answer to her new last name.
Yeah.
Her name is, in fact, Rey Skywalker. The Rey of Skywalker.
Mhm.
Yep.
Your thoughts?
It is.
That's one opinion. That's for sure.
I get what they were going for. Again, it seems random. It seems like it's like, really, did he think about that enough? Like that, it's, Luke is the only one who was really Skywalker that affected her life, and he was, important obviously to her life, but like also, again, like you said, if these are, the characters who saw Star Wars, like, that's like, all of a sudden they're like, oh, like I'm naming myself after that famous person from the, like suddenly you get to pick your own name and you're just like, you can just add in, I'm trying to think of a unique famous last name from real life and I can't right now. All I keep thinking is like, what about like Michael Jackson? No. It's like,
It's like Trey Cool from Green Day.
Yeah, exactly.
Or McCartney.
I'm
part of
Ray
your own name.
Cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm Ray Cool.
Oh, Ray Cool is. She said Droopy McCool, and she was like Ray McCool.
Yeah.
There was a while ago we were trying to make TikTok videos, and we were doing like a bunch every day, and we went like not viral but like baby viral on one of them, talking about a theory from Return of the Jedi. But at around that same time there was a lot of discourse on TikTok about Rey as a Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that discourse has not died, because there's toxic fanboys all over the place who love to be like, Rey's not a Skywalker. She doesn't deserve the name. And there's that kind of like weird toxic like take on that where they're like, they don't want her to be a Skywalker because they don't like Rey.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're like Skywalker is my dad's name and she is not my dad. she is Rey and she doesn't deserve the name of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And I posted a video back then saying something similar where I was like, is Rey a Skywalker? Well, yes, the movies obviously said that's her name now. So it's kind of pointless to argue about it because that's what her name is. But the argument that I made, I was like, I think it's not a very strong narrative choice. It feels weak to me story-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, Luke was kind of the only Skywalker that she had a connection with. And I also love the Rey from nowhere like name kind of piece from Last Jedi. I think that's stronger narratively because it lets you be like, well, anybody can be the hero, right? Which was something that I feel like we were aiming towards with the beginning of this trilogy, and then by the end of it we were like, never mind. No, not everyone can be the hero. You have to have magical blood. And so I think that the strongest choice would have been for her just to say just Rey,
Right.
and not pick a last name, and then we just get to have Rey as the hero and she's just her own person. Or even, I don't know, would it have been better to say Rey Palpatine? Because then she's like taking back her heritage. Like, I don't know. That would have been very strange.
They would have gotten the pitchforks and torches out.
Yeah.
It would have sent mixed signals to people if she did that.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's not the strongest choice. It doesn't bother me necessarily, but it just feels like Rey from nowhere, the nobody, is a stronger narrative choice to me.
Yeah.
The theme sort of goes from like she's someone from nobody, then the theme becomes like finding your family, like and not letting your biological inheritance be your destiny. So I can appreciate that people like that aspect of Rey's narrative. They're like, she's reclaiming herself and proclaiming herself her own person. The Skywalker part of it seems clunky. I kind of like the simplicity, like you said, of just Rey.
Clunky.
Rather than because obviously if she says Organa, half the audience is gonna be like, well, who's Organa? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So what would be the coolest answer? What sound is the coolest kind of coming, ignoring any narrative sense, ignoring
Solo.
any, just like pick out a Star Wars name. What would be the coolest?
Yeah.
Solo.
Rey Solo is good.
Rey Solo.
Yeah, Rey Solo is good. I think Rey Cool. I know that's not Star Wars, but that is pretty cool.
It is.
We got a real
Literally.
life. That's pretty cool.
Rey Baba.
Ray Baca.
No, Baba, like Honda Baba.
Oh, okay.
Wait, no. Ray Frick, Babu Frick,
There you
Ray
go.
Frick.
Oh my God!
Frick.
If like the third ghost to show up was just it wasn't a ghost, it was just Babu Frick like kind of parting between the two of them.
Hey.
Yeah. Oh
think
no,
he should've-
not Skywalker. Ray Frick.
Hey, yeah.
Ray Quaterneros. I think he should have popped out of like the top of BB-8's head. Like that's how he rides around.
Yeah.
Like on BB-8. Like it's a.
Oh, Ray Bulba.
Ooh, Ray Bulba.
You have to scream it when you say
Yeah.
it.
Right, yeah.
Ray Bulba.
Named after, because she is on Tatooine, and it's, Tatooine racing legend Ray Bulba. That would be
true,
like
yeah.
like picking,
Yeah.
a famous
I guess
name.
Ray Plutt. The person who raised her was last name Plutt.
That sounds
So,
the least cool. Ray Plutt.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Ray Plutt.
Ray Plutt.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Ray Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you
What,
go.
I
what if
think
he
one
said
of my-
Ray Abrams?
Ray
Ray
Abrams.
Abrams.
People have gone with
Ray
gone along with
Abrams.
it.
Yeah.
Ray Abrams.
One of my favorite ones I saw, like on Twitter or something at the time, was a line-for-line recreation of it, but it ended with like Ray who, and she says Ray Star Wars. I think that's just a great joke.
That would, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Well, along similar lines, I want to also, does Finn get a last name? Because Finn
this is
is
a good
another
question.
human, and he's somebody else who just has a first name. So does she go back and be like, Finn, check it out, I got a last name. You should get one too. Does he pick one?
Well, I remember
Yeah, the
when
crazy thing is you just pick one.
when they released the title for this movie, like before they even released any teasers or anything like that, Rise of Skywalker, there was a lot of speculation, and I loved this, and I still sort of hold on to this as a little bit of a headcanon, that Skywalker is almost like knight, like a term of like this new wave that supposedly, I suppose, Rey will teach and bring up a new group of force wielders who maybe aren't quite so dogmatic as the Fall of
Right.
the Republic Jedi were. So like maybe Finn is now Finn Skywalker too, and they have to say like no relation. Like there's like this
Right,
whole
yeah.
new thing where everybody goes
bet.
by so and so Skywalker, like the old days where everybody's last name was their profession, like Smith or
Right.
Cooper or
Ramon.
Yeah, and any Jedi student takes on the last name Skywalker. That's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's like the
Right.
I definitely think that Rey came up with Skywalker first, and then Finn totally was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna make that mine too." Like,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Oh,
that's
what
actually
the?
really good.
Like you're totally biting my name." Rey.
She's like, did you even ever meet Luke? I don't know if you
true.
did.
Yeah.
yeah.
I saw
don't
a
think you did.
hologram of him on
Yeah.
Kate or Crate.
It's like, no, I've just been reading a lot of history. There's this lady Shmi. She seems really cool.
Right, yeah. Or yeah, maybe he was a sports fan and he was like, this racer that I liked.
Yeah. He's the
He only did
human
one
that could
race,
do it.
but wow, it was incredible.
There are people in the Star Wars universe, like on a buzz list, a BuzzFeed list of like people you won't believe are, like Darth Vader was once also this racing champion,
Yeah.
like something
Right,
that
yeah.
people couldn't believe that they're actually the same people,
Yeah.
What was the one I just saw the other day? Oh, it's a whole different. There's a whole different can of worms there. Never mind.
Okay.
I just did find a new connection. It's Star Wars related, but it's. I think Alex, you and I just talked about it on Weekend Edition not too long ago. So don't worry about it.
A little tease there for the weekend show.
A little tease.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Oh, what does
Mr.
the old
Cheese.
lady then now? Sorry, the Ray. Who are you, Ray? Who
Yeah.
does she? Do we even see a reaction shot of her? I can't remember.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you asked because I was just about to go look at the expanded
good.
edition
Yay!
of Star Wars Episode 9: The Rise of Skywalker by New York Times bestselling author Ray Carson. And
You got
there's been no one for so long. Who are you? She said, I'm Ray. Ray who? The old woman asked. Light snagged Ray's gaze and she turned her head. Leia and Luke stood on the edge of the homestead, glowing blue, smiling at her. Ray missed them both so much. Luke gave her a gentle nod and said, it's yours, Ray. She turned back to the trader woman. Standing tall, she said, Ray Skywalker. Ah, said the woman, unsurprised. See you around. And she hobbled off without sharing her own name.
Okay, sorry.
Oh
this
my
is, This
God.
is like the official novelization. Is that the?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So she gets the last word in the Star Wars saga.
Mm-hmm. See you around.
Who are you?
See you
Ray?
around!
It's a question mark. It's like, see you around? So, sorry. The woman said, unsurprised. See you around? And then hobbled off without sharing her own name. And that's it. That's the last line in... Last line of dialogue in Star Wars. All of the saga.
In all of in the
Journal of the
Skywalker
Wills
saga,
taking
that is
an
the last one.
unexpected turn.
That is so great. Like,
That's really
that's
funny
better
to me.
than
Oh my
and
God.
she loved it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my god, that is so crazy.
Wow. See you around?
See you around.
Like that
Question mark?
name would have made that old lady have any reaction of any more substance than that.
I know. Like, I've never been in a situation with a stranger where I've been like, all right, tell me, what's your name? Full name.
Right, yeah.
Christian name.
Yeah.
Like, you really, if it's a passing interaction, you really only need like a first name. Like, you don't have to get the whole thing. But there's no name in which she would have been like, oh, I know who you are. Unless maybe she said like Lars or something.
Ray Lars.
And she'd be like, that makes sense
Ray
actually.
Lars is a
'cause
cool
you're-
sounding name.
Ray Lars.
But yeah,
Ray Lars.
Ray
Ray
Antilles. Isn't Antilles like the Smith of
I
Star
think
Wars?
so, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Because there's two of
Lots
them.
of it.
Therefore,
Yeah.
that must
Yeah,
be the
therefore
most
it's super
common name in
common.
the galaxy.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that this woman knows someone named Ray who she does not like or has been warned against. And so she's like, Ray, ooh. And so then when she's like, Ray Skywalker, she's like, oh, that's not the one I gotta.
Okay. See
That's
you
not the
around?
one I'm
Oh,
looking
you're
for. That's,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
I'm looking for.
She's trying to serve her papers. Is that what you said?
Ray J. Johnson. That's the one I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Server papers.
Ray.
So anyway,
did you say
that wraps up the talking part.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say the author of that novel is also a Ray?
Yes, Ray Carson.
So she could have picked Carson, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a couple more notes because she says Ray Skywalker, and then we have, this is a little silly to me. The next shot I think is BB-8 standing next to the twin suns that are also being shaped like BB-8 at the moment,
Yeah.
which that feels a little bit like a hat on a hat to me. I'm like, I don't.
It's a hat on a ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. That part's a little silly, and then you see the classic look, them both looking at the twin suns, but like having that shot, like having like a little fun shot with the twin suns looking like a pattern, and then immediately having them doing another pattern is like, did we need the BB-8 one?
Right.
It feels like.
Well, I think it was. I mean, is that JJ's kind of calling card as the BB-8? So he's like, oh, I'll make it so that look, here's my
Bad
thing
robots.
here. Yeah.
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 Bad
But
robot.
why have them back to back? That's the annoying thing. Why not
Yeah.
have the first
Yeah,
one
it's
like when
just
they first get
strange.
there and then end on it rather than doing the same?
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
who am I?
Yeah. You're just somebody
Um,
microanalyzing this.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
guessing
in a
that,
way that was never intended.
I'm guessing
No.
that the shots of them on the horizon are probably leftover stuff from The Force Awakens, right? Because
Yeah,
as you
somebody,
said,
I think-
this was not intended to be the ending originally, so they had to kind of piece it together from other stuff. But who knows?
I think somebody pointed out, like specifically, like she's wearing her Force Awakens outfit, and I think, and does she have her
feel like she has a
staff
staff,
on?
too.
Uh-huh.
Or am I
I think
misremembering
so.
that?
I think.
And so I think they just kind of
So-
took that and slopped in some suns.
Yeah.
But
Slapped
be
in
wrong.
the sun.
Slapped
Twin
in some
suns,
suns.
twin Skywalkers. See that?
Mhm.
That's ring theory.
Yeah, there you go.
Got there. Got yourself
There
some
you
ring
go.
theory. One thing that doesn't make sense to me is that it seems like when she's talking to the old lady, it's like the afternoon or daytime. And then now when
Right.
she's walking towards the sun, they're clearly rising. So I guess she's been there overnight since that interaction with the old lady. So
Yeah.
I guess
Wait,
she
are they
just, I guess
rising,
she probably
you
just
think?
slept on the Falcon. What?
Oh yeah. Wait, they're rising?
At the end, she's
Like the Rise
walking
of
and
Skywalker?
the two suns are
Yeah.
rising.
Oh, I assumed
Rise
they
of-
were
sunrise of
setting.
Skywalker.
Yeah.
That's hard to
I
tell.
mean, people can double
without-
check. I definitely was anyway.
Let's get Neil deGrasse
Wrong.
Tyson on this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's like,
Maybe they
well,
just go
actually,
around real
suns
fast."
don't set.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They rise and set in the same cardinal direction too. Just like entropy works
Yes.
different on things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just come up in the north and go down.
You're always looking past the igloo in that direction, no matter what.
What were the last shots? What were the last shots of the other sequel movies? Was one
Broom Boy
Rey
one
handing
of
the
them?
lightsaber? Broom Boy.
Broom Boy was Last Jedi.
And then was it? I think it was Luke and Rey,
right.
like on a far shot when they're standing on the horizon.
Yeah,
I think this
right,
is. I think this is the most visually striking last shot of, definitely of this trilogy. But maybe it might be up in the final of all the trilogies. I mean, it's just such a, aesthetically, it's just such a nice looking.
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
but
like
you mean
Augie's
just outside
Municipal
of
Band?
Yeah, exactly.
The
I need a
big orb.
parade. I need a glowing orb. But yeah, I'm
Won't argue
thinking
with
like Empire, like where they're just kind of staring off at the, that is meaningful, but it's not as visually compelling necessarily. I mean, it's
Right.
nice. They're all staring out at the galaxy there. Which
I
they're
like
not in
the-
for some
I'm not
reason.
slamming the other ones. I'm just saying that this is particularly nice.
Yeah. I like the old Luke one because it's the only bit of face acting we get from Mark Hamill in that movie. Like, he's, just absent from the movie. And it is sort of a promise of, like, buckle up for this next one, you guys.
Yeah.
But visually, you're right. It is maybe not as striking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, visually very compelling. Meaningful, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I rolled my eyes too hard when we were watching it that I don't even remember, like, processing it as a visual.
Well, yeah, don't stare directly into the sun.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
you'll definitely.
And there's two suns for both your eyes.
Yeah, there you go.
Even worse.
Yeah.
And then the credits start.
Yeah, we get some credits.
Directed by J.J. Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Abrams.
Jar Jar Abrams himself.
Yeah.
The Go ahead.
I was going to call attention to the screenplay credit,
Okay.
and it's Chris Terrio is co-writer of the screenplay, and I looked into his past, and
You had him arrested.
some really shady business in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I also looked into the Derek Connolly, who came up with the story that the screenplay was based on.
He's the one.
Seems to be a similar pattern. They both did like independent films that were well regarded. Chris Terrio did Argo, and Derek Connolly did Safety Not Guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they both did wrote stories for a string of awful, terrible movies. Chris Terrio did Justice League and Batman v Superman.
Ah, right.
And Derek Connolly did 2 of the Jurassic Worlds, Kong Skull Island, and Detective Pikachu. So,
Oh, hey, Detective
I heard
Pikachu
that was good,
rules.
yeah.
well, I'm just saying it's not necessarily the pedigree. You'd be like, let's get that person for a Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway.
I mean, that seems to be a fault of the
modern system.
the Hollywood system. It's like somebody does something that gets them on the map,
Yeah.
and then instantly they're like, great, now do this like
Thrown in the
high
deep end.
profile, like, yeah, exactly. Throw them right in the deep end. Do this high profile, big budget studio movie.
Yeah.
And if it's not like 100% perfect, then you're like exiled permanently from Hollywood. You know? Well, although somehow if you get to keep doing, I mean, I guess those made enough money on the heels of their, I mean, I guess that is like, in a way that makes sense because it's like, all right, well, this is going to make money more or less regardless of who's doing it. So if you screw it up badly badly enough that it doesn't make money, like that a Jurassic Park loses money, then that's on you. Like then you're,
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. This also brings me to a bit of movie credits trivia that I find fascinating. The screenplay by credit is JJ and Chris Terrio, like you said, meaning they ostensibly wrote it together, but because this movie was at least in the hands of Colin Trevorrow for a time before that stopped being the case, presumably, especially if you mentioned Derek Connolly worked on the Jurassic movies, presumably he worked on those as a co-writer with with Colin Trevorrow, because the story by credit is 2 ampersanded partners with an and between them, and the difference between an ampersand and in credits is just like endlessly fascinating to me because ampersand signifies partners who worked together on a thing, and essentially symbolizes like we met with lawyers afterwards and discussed which words everybody wrote, and like this writing team was credited as story by because they did write enough at some point before ownership changed hands. Like that is wild.
Yeah. And from what I understand, I mean, you've read it more than I have, but that some of the conceptual story beats, well, and again, who knows how many of those came from up on high, you know, how many of those, like we've heard that, you know, anytime they sat down to kind of write a new one of these, they were given more or less a laundry list of beats that were like, okay, Lucasfilm says we need to do X, Y, Z. Yeah. Like they're like, here are the things that have to happen.
Yeah.
Ballpark things, you know, not specifically like, you know, yeah.
Right.
So it'd be interesting to see what, you know, I don't know, what their process was in that of being like, okay, well, this we like, but can we change this a little bit? And, you know, there's enough that I bet there was enough that was just like between the Writers Guild rules and like legal department just being like, okay, well, we got to give them this credit for this. Otherwise, that way we're not going to get sued and we're not going to get,
Yeah. So wild. Because then I'm sure there's any number of other people who took a stab at a draft at some point is listed in a, you know, special thanks or some other credit or maybe uncredited altogether. But so why? Because I think even was it Solo? I think they did a similar thing with Lord and Miller, that they were listed maybe as executive producers or some kind of high level thing, but not directors or co-directors or whatever.
Right.
So wild to me.
What happened to that guy that JJ wrote The Force Awakens with? That was like the same thing. It was like the hot new thing that he was just like, yeah, this guy's going to write a draft of it. And then like, I think he went away.
Oh, I can't remember.
I can't remember that guy's name, but I remember that was a big deal. Anyway.
I wanted to bring up the music for the credits.
Sure.
All right.
Because I did a little digging to try to figure out what all themes were played in this. Because excuse me. Because the song is listed as, it's just called Finale.
Mm-hmm.
Finale.
Finale.
It's 10 minutes long. Finale. It's 10 minutes long. And in this minute, we get the Star Wars main title theme, which, you know, iconic. And then it goes into, I believe, I found this on Wikipedia, so I'm pretty sure it's right. It goes into Rebel Fanfare.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we get in this minute is those two back to back, which I found fun because this is like this finale is like literally just hit after hit after hit of all these themes.
It really is just like, might as well just play, you know. Now that's what I call Star Wars. Like just like play, give us all the greatest hits while we're going through it. Like
make a medley, a medley of it.
Oh yeah. Like mega mix.
Which I can go.
Right?
I got the rest of the song themes as well, which we'll talk about in the next couple days.
All
but and this one is just the main title into Rebel Fanfare, as far as I'm aware. I think that's correct, but it could be wrong. So,
no, we are notoriously terrible with recognizing music and then knowing what things are called with music. So we're leaning on you to and we're not going to correct you on anything. You can just make it up. You can be like, and this is they played. And
then there's a Bleep Blow Blardin
by Ray
which is
Cool.
A weird song,
right? Yeah,
by Ray Cool.
All right.
Well, anything else for minute 133?
Yeah, I have a couple of just people from these credits. I think they're from this minute.
Assuming no Pete's.
No Pete's yet. Sadly. Jason McGatlin, Senior Vice President of Production. He looks like he works for Lucasfilm he's senior senior vice president of production, but he's listed as a producer here. I think he's a senior vice president of production at Lucasfilm, so he's just, has his hand on everything going. So he has been involved with lots of, I think all the Disney era Star Wars films. But interestingly, going back into his past, he also worked on something that we haven't covered before, but has been covered on the show before, because he was the production office supervisor for Deep Blue Sea. And years ago, one of our April Fool's episodes was Deep Blue Sea Minute. So
Yeah. Good times.
We've also got Dan Mindel.
And Who Are You? Ure was also in that. Is also in.
She was also, yeah, she's been in everything.
She was the shark.
She's everything.
Her head was like a shark's fin. We've got Dan Mindel. Dan Mindel, the director of photography, and we've said throughout that this movie looks great. Like, there's a lot of things, sometimes there's some effects shots that look a little bland or whatever, but overall, it looks pretty great throughout most of it. And he's the director of photography, done a ton of stuff. But most notably, well, Force Awakens, same guy. J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movie. And another movie that I think looked pretty good, had some production problems, and was a disappointment to many. It was John Carter. John Carter.
I remember that movie. I cried in the theaters because it affected me so deeply.
In what way?
It was just the horrors of war,
Yeah.
There was a scene where he's like fighting all the Martians or whatever, and he's flashing back to his time in the Civil War, and I was like crying because I was like, wow, war is hell.
War is hell. On this planet
Universal.
or any other. Yeah.
Make one.
I don't care what
it's
galaxy
universal.
you're from. War is hell.
Especially if it's a Star War.
Yeah. Star Wars is hell. We also got Rick Carter, production design.
Oh, just like John Carter.
Yeah. John Carter, meet Rick Carter. Production design, he worked on like so many things going all the way back. Like production designer for Back to the Future 2 and 3.
Oh,
like
sweet.
all the original Jurassic Park movies. Forrest Gump, Avatar. Like he's really just done a ton of stuff. So good DNA in the production here. Kevin, I'm trying to read my own writing now. Kevin Jenkins, I think, is a concept designer who did a lot of. I had the art of this book somewhere out here. So again, those concept designs, and there's one. I don't remember if it's him or the other. There's two people listed, I think, for kind of concept designs, and one of them I think was somebody who was working more closely with Colin Trevorrow and the guy who we already said, who I've forgotten his name already. I'm sorry.
Derek Connolly.
Yeah, Derek Connolly.
Derek Connolly.
Because there's an artifact of their collaboration in, speaking of Galaxy's Edge, there's a life-size TIE fighter there that is sitting there in the middle of the thing, but it's a TIE fighter model that does not exist on screen anywhere because it was made in an attempt to tie in with the movies. It was made from concept art once the movie went into production. And then that design got scrapped before the movie actually came out. So
interesting.
A TIE fighter designed for this movie, and I think it was by that guy, Kevin Jenkins. Could have been the other guy, but that got designed, built full scale at Disneyland, and then scrapped before the movie came out. So.
Funny.
What makes it unique? Why is it? How is it different from a regular TIE fighter?
It's just slightly, it's like all of them. It's slightly different. Like the wings are different. I think it has a little red.
It's got blue on it or something.
Yeah. It's got a different hat.
Yeah, Greeblies.
Got it.
And last one I'm going to talk about today, costume designer Michael Kaplan.
Good job.
Also worked on a bunch of stuff. So worked on all these new Star Trek and Star Wars movies. Another long career going all the way back to, like, think of these iconic outfits. Blade Runner, Flashdance, like costume designer for Flashdance, like that gets you into the Hall of Fame. Like every girl I knew wore like leggings for years because of that, because we were like 8 or whatever.
How have they not remade Flashdance?
I don't know. Did they? Might have been one of those things where they did it as like a Hulu movie or something and nobody knew.
Yeah, you're probably right.
The biggest stars in the world were in it and none of us have heard of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Clue, he worked on Clue, great movie.
Love
Looks
that
great.
movie.
And one more. So over in the same compartment with Anna and the King and Meet Joe Black and Wing Commander, Michael Kaplan also worked the costume designer for Fight Club. So that's the other thing that we saw. Here's some things that Fox is working on. Fight Club.
Yeah.
Every time I saw The Phantom Menace. So
that's so funny.
And another good, like, costume-wise, that was, like, fairly, like, the look that those guys had was pretty...
The bathrobe, Tyler Durden's whole thing, the, like, red leather jacket and the tinted sunglasses.
Mm-hmm. So hats off, Michael Kaplan.
Being a costume designer with a big budget must be a fantastic job.
Totally.
Like getting to put a lot of work and effort into making the costumes, unique. Obviously, for a low budget, probably not as much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially on a Star Wars.
A lot of going to thrift stores.
With all the jackets you get to design, where effectively it's like, take a jacket we've all seen before, but just add a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
You don't need more
and
buckles.
Lots of hats. Famously, we covered hats on How
That's
Star Wars
true,
with
That's
Pete.
right.
Lots of helmets. Lots of helmets.
Yeah, helmets became a big topic that day.
Yeah, that was a controversial topic.
I wrote down John Williams. I think we see John Williams in this minute too. His name.
And who's that again?
Were you just writing down the fact?
He's in like a scene in this movie.
Oh, right, the bartender.
Yeah. Which hats and helmets off to John Williams.
Yeah.
He's a treasure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anything else for minute 133? We got more credits to plow through tomorrow.
Yeah.
Assuming you guys are going to come back.
Oh, I'd be honored.
Yes.
Okay.
Honored
that's
and
a
privileged.
commitment. You heard it here for folks. And, well, we're coming up to the end of the movie, it seems, and you're going to have a lot of extra time in your listening schedule, dear listeners, so why not check out some of our side projects that we've done over the years. Pete and I were both on Alphabetical, where we go through all the Beatles songs in alphabetical order. I am currently the co-host of the Godfather Minute. We are about, coincidentally, 135 minutes into Godfather 2. Still have an hour left to go. And Pete has been on ABC DEVO, where they talk about all the Devo album cuts, and then ABC DTOS covering the original Star Trek series in alphabetical order.
And keep an eye on abcdtos.com. Go there. Keep an eye on that feed, because there's some stuff in the works. We could be some new stuff. Not immediately, but down the road a little bit.
All right, you heard it here,
That's vague
folks.
enough, right? Nobody's gonna be able to pin that on me. I'm just like, keep an eye on that. Something might be there at some point.
That's true. Well, something will definitely be here tomorrow on another Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.